really respect that we set this up, and then there was no planning really. Like it was just like, here's my email, send me an invite, I'll see you on there, let's go. That's how I would love to do them, but some people just can't operate that way. So I want to commend that and then ask, like, is that how you like to do things, or is that just how you thought I did them?
Um, I mean, like, I'm pretty casual, I guess. Like, mostly for like this type of shit. Like, yeah, I just want to keep it loose. Like, I don't want to get like too buttoned up. Like, we're just chilling. We're just chatting right now. Like, yeah, it's not like like an interview, like job interview. It's just like, we're just chatting, man.
Yeah, I agree, and you know what I have, not that anyone is right or wrong, but there have been people who have been more kind of sticklers about getting questions, or like at least lines of questioning ahead of time, and then I try to follow that, and I feel that kind of muddies up the interview in a way. Like having a list of questions to follow, it they never, especially with like kind of free conversations like this, one answer leads to another, and it's hard to fit certain things in. So I mean, I'll do them both ways, but I would admit that I like completely freestyling it, and a few of the people I've talked to lately seem to be a bit more structured. And I guess not to say that you're not structured, but they kind of required a bit more like direction for the talk ahead of time. So it's awesome just to be able to hop on, and I don't really know exactly what we're going to talk about, but I think that's going to make it a better talk, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, like I wish we recorded like what we were talking about like beforehand. Like that. I mean, just even from the start, just kind of like going down this rabbit hole of like divorced dad Instagram and fucking which kind of like went into like the whole philosophy of like digital personas and like how you curate them and like the realness of like how you present yourself and like yeah, I mean, like that felt so natural, and it's just like that's the type of conversations I want to have. Like, you know, I feel like even within like a professional creative space that I'm in now, I feel like I have to like code switch a lot, which is like it's tiring. Like I'm not that type of person, I realized, and like, I mean, you have to do it to a certain respect, like depending on the setting, but like yeah, I don't know. It just like doesn't feel right to me. And like that's like really important to me. Like just with like any conversation, like if it's like at a like an event and I'm just like talking to someone in the smoking section or like, I'm on set like talking to like, a production person or like someone on the client side. Like I wanna be able to like feel comfortable. Like I can't like have those very like I guess I would call it like Hinge date or like Tinder date conversations where you're like, so what do you do? Where did you come from? How many siblings do you have? It's like I'm not really interested in that. I'm just like, yo, let's get down to like, I don't know, let's see where the conversation goes and just kind of like spitball here. We're just riffing. I'm a riffer, I guess.
So like when you I mean despite what I was saying at the beginning, I do have a couple things jotted down to ask you about, and obviously I should have prefaced that by saying I have the most, anyone who's on here I have 1,000% respect for, and I have done a bit of research and I know about what they do. Like I'm not, like it sounds rude to say I would like to go into a completely freestyle. I obviously know about you, what you do, all that, but I would love to know plenty more. So let me dig out of those and try to relate that to what we were talking about, and then hopefully spin it back. This might be a little confusing for the listener, but everyone bear with us. when you got into design, did you like know, or did you like see a future where you would end up, like algorithms and job interviews and all that would be such a huge part of being a designer and having your designs out there? Like, did you know about the other side of all of that?
Um, Not really. I mean, I started like designing like I think it was like 2010. I was like before that, I went to like San Jose State here in the Bay Area, like thinking I was gonna be a graphic designer. And like before that, I was like, I was like drawing a lot since I was a kid, and like I was like doing graffiti, but like not really. Like I wasn't going on the streets and shit. I just had like a black book because I just love drawing and then like painting on backpacks and shit. But like when I graduated high school, like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a graphic designer. But then like I didn't really know what it was. I thought it was just like working at Pixar, which was like a completely different thing. So like when I started doing design, like I didn't exactly know like what I wanted to do, like what I had like an interest in, and like I still do, and like I'm pretty sure you're familiar with is like I love doing like music flyers and like posters and shit. And like at the time I was just like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna be a famous artist of some sort or whatever. And like I didn't understand like the professional sense of it until probably like I started working at agency like 6 years ago when I started like contracting and freelancing and just like understanding like the inner workings of like the industry. But then like also like rewind a couple years before that, like I think it was like 2017, 18 was like when I really started posting on Instagram, and that was like I kind of see it as like the start of like air quotes Instagram design. And like people were just like posting shit, and like there was like a nice community over there, and it wasn't really run by like algorithms or anything at that time, I believe. Because like you get a lot of traction, you meet a lot of people, and like you'd like put something out and it wouldn't get just nerfed by like the algorithm and shit. And like I didn't like I didn't know at the time, like, like when things are good happening, you like think it's gonna last forever and shit. But then, like, obviously, like with the turn of all these tech companies, like ruling the algorithms so that like you have to buy content for, or you have to buy promotion for like traction and shit. You kind of just like have to adapt with it. And like, I guess like to answer your question in short, like, no, but like, kinda. Like you can kind of see the tide turning after a while, but like I honestly like where I'm at now, just like on a general as like a general overarching like look at it, like I did not expect to be where I'm at now if you were to talk to me like what 15 years ago. So it's been an interesting path nonetheless.
Kind of listening to your answer and just thinking about it in my head, I maybe like everything I'm talking about wasn't actually as prevalent in the culture when you were getting into it. Like even 2018 is only a couple of years ago, but it seems like forever ago with how quickly things change and like how kind of seemingly overnight they just ruined like every app by exactly what you're saying, like pay to play instead of like just see cool stuff that you're into. So I guess maybe like back then 17, 18, 19, it wasn't as big of a factor for anyone, like, so there wasn't anything to know because it wasn't for sure like known yet.
Yeah. I mean, like at the time, like Instagram was kind of like starting to take over like Facebook. Like people were still like pretty active on Facebook, but then like I guess the tide was turning on Facebook where it was becoming a lot more like pay to play, as you said. And then like Instagram, like we all know Instagram as like the visual like photo app. Like people were just posting photos on there. It wasn't like a main vehicle of like advertisement. And like now it's become that. Like it is just a vehicle of advertisement. Like kind of like what you were talking about, like off air, like before, it's just like all these like restaurants, they all look the same because they're all ads. And like that's kind of how you're thinking about it these days. It's like, granted, like a lot of my like work is for like, events and shit. So it's like it is ads essentially. It is promotion. But it's like if you want to like it's hard because it's like, you want to post your art, and not to say that you still can't do it because there's a lot of artists, a lot of very talented, very good artists that like just post their work and they gets a lot of traction. But you still have to like kind of think about that a lot. And it's, it kind of like it kind of ruins like the purity of art sometimes when you post digitally. And like I've definitely like have benefited and like very thankful for, Instagram, like even though they're like evil and Mark Zuckerberg and all that. Like I am thankful for because it helped like launch my career. Like if it wasn't for Instagram, if it wasn't for posting on there and like meeting people and like talking to people and like being exposed to these things, like I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. But you just in the today's day and age, like I still post on Instagram, like I still love to share my work and like talk about it or lack thereof. I don't really post descriptions actually. But but yeah, it's just like fuck, I lost my train of thought. Yeah. It's tough, but it's like it's you kind of have to, oh yeah, you have to like adapt to it. Like, you know, that's how you kind of like have to work as an artist, It's like you have to adapt with the times, you have to adapt with like the new tools that are coming out, you have to adapt with like, the cultural shifts that are happening. And it's like, you know, if you want longevity in the scene as a career or even just like for your own sanity as an artist, you kind of have to like adapt to what's going on and like what is being thrown in front of you.
Do you like if I was to blatantly ask you, which I am, I guess, does it make you like designing or being an artist any less?
Uh, I mean, yes and no, because like one, like I just love doing it. Like the act of doing it, it's always been like a part of me. Like I'm in parts therapy, and like basically what parts therapy is, it's just like identifying like the different parts of yourself that make you you. And like I identified that like, being creative or like making art of some sort is like my major part of myself. It keeps me happy. It keeps me like it gives me purpose. It makes me just feel good every day. So it's like, you know, it doesn't make me like not like it as much, but it's just like the hustle and grind sometimes. It's just like, like I have to do this and like like with anything, hobby, job, or whatever, like you're gonna get burnt out on it eventually. But it's just like, it hasn't really like diminished my love for it. It's definitely like as an observer rather than a participant, like it's definitely like turned me into like I need to get way better at this, but like a curmudgeon, like old man yelling at the sky type shit. It's like I see stuff and they get so much traction and I'm just like, why is this good? Like, it's like it's not they're just using like plugins and it's like following like trends. Like, why is it good? Like, why do so many people like it? But then like I kind of had to like discern like my own viewing of art based on that because like a lot of it is just numbers. Like, you know, it's all controlled by like, algorithms and like, data and all this other bullshit. So it's like I had to like discern that from myself and just be like, you know what? Like likes don't matter. Like if I like it, just like if I get a feeling, an emotional response from it, then like that's where the love and beauty comes from. Like you kind of have to like look aside, but it's just like thrown in your face constantly that like you can't ignore it. So like yeah, it's a give and take. Like some days I'm just like, ugh, I need a break and I need to watch like shitty reality TV. Or like other days I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like go on YouTube and like learn about this niche topic within art and like how can it like pertain to my craft and shit. So
That's so funny. That's the exact tightrope that I live on. Like some days I want to learn, like not go on my phone, read books, watch documentaries, like just absorb whatever I can. And then other days I just want to watch the worst reality TV and like just absolutely like destroy my mind with divorced dad reels and all that. What's your favorite, your guilty pleasure reality TV?
Dude, Love is Blind. I'm a big Love is Blind guy. Like I love that show. It's so good. Like it's so corny. Like the people go on there and they're like, "What do you want?" It's like, "I want love." And it's like, Don't we all?" And it's just like it's like kind of funny, but like it's kind of like it's just smooth brain shit. Like I don't know. I don't have to like, I work a 9 to 5 at a design agency, so it's like my brain is just like problem solving, designing, like thinking creatively for like 8 hours, just grinding. It's like when I get home, I don't want to watch like some like crazy, dense, like artistic film. Like I just kind of want to like something easy, something nice. But like, yeah, Love is Blind is like really fucking good. Like I just enjoy drama, I guess. Like it's like kind of fun to watch. And like I have no shame talking about that. Like it's actually really, really entertaining. And like the music in there is like some of the best fucking music. It's so corny. It's like very situational. Like somebody's like having a hard time, so like, oh, times are hard and blah blah blah. And then like if they're like in love, they're like, love lasts forever. And I'm just like, that is a creative choice.
Oh, I my girlfriend and I actually constantly talk about the music in shows like that, like Selling Sunset. It goes back to like The Hills, Laguna Beach, like whenever they're like having a good time, like if they're in a club or whatever, the music was about having a good time in a club. And it's like, where did this? I've never heard the song before. I've never heard it after. Like I've looked into it a bit more. Some of those songs are actually made specifically for those shows. Like
Oh yeah.
it's cheaper for them to like get someone to like write a snippet than it is to license a song that would suit that scene. So a lot of those songs really don't exist outside of whatever show that they're on.
Yeah. I mean, like being at the agency, it's like I kind of learned that, like exactly what you said. Like that's people's jobs. Like they just make music specifically for ads or like movies and stuff, which is like kind of sick, like actually. 'Cause like imagine being like a musician, like, your band didn't take off, or like, you went to a music school and like, you didn't nothing worked out there or whatever. Like there still is an avenue to be a musician. It's just kind of different. Like everyone wants like, you know, the glory of like being like a big, named artist or director or musician or whatever. But it's like there are places in the field that you can still like do that, and like you can still like be creative and like do your thing. And like it can be just making the original soundtrack to Love is Blind, which is amazing. Like I think that like that's really cool, and that's kind of going on like what you were talking about earlier. It's like I didn't know that like you can find like different ways to like work in the field and like be creative or like be an offshoot of like your original like skill and talent in the creative field, and kind of still be able to do something with it, but also just like, put a roof on top of your head, pay the taxes, pay the bills.
You're referencing like you're a senior designer at the new company, right?
Yeah, and I also art direct as well. So like photo shoots, production kind of stuff.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I just had the dumbest question ever, but what is a senior designer?
So basically like I'm one of the more seen use the word in the description. I'm one of the more senior designers on the team, so like I don't necessarily like lead projects. I'm like the lead designer on projects. Like I'll have a creative director on top, like above me, and like help like build the structure and overarching like message and everything, and then I come in and like design the thing, but then also like figure out art direction, like figure out like all the different like brand elements for like whatever we're working on, campaign elements, so on and so forth. So like, it's a design role, but like I have a little bit more, I guess, say and like um control over projects. And like, like I'm expected at times to like take a whole project on my own as a designer, while like, associates and like junior designers probably have another designer on there or another creative director just to kind of like guide them a little bit more. Since like, I've been working as a designer for a long time in the agency world for like 6 years now. So even just like it can even be dictated on like your experience level and just like how many reps you got in and just like, obviously talent level and shit.
Do you mind if I ask what were you doing before designing?
Well, so before I was at like agency, I was like I said, I was like working in the event space. So like I worked at this club, Public Works, before 2020. 2020 obviously like I got furloughed because of like, everything was shut down, and like that was like entertainment and like club shit was like the thing that got hit pretty hard. So I started as an intern there like 2013. I was like 23 years old. I was really young. And then like started as an intern, kind of worked my way up to designer, and then worked my way. I kind of like built roles because like typically like clubs don't have an in-house designer. So like I was doing that, and then eventually became creative director, air quotes. Like it's not a creative director in like the sense of like an agency or like a studio or some shit, or even like an in-house like corporation or whatever. I was just kind of like making sure like all the creative was like copacetic and everything, and just like, obviously like following some like brand identity principles, but like not really because we didn't have any guidelines or anything. It was just like all this shit was like in my head. And I also like started social media managing. I kind of just like fell into that role because like we needed a social media manager. So I was just like, I'll do it. I post on Instagram. I use the apps. So kind of like fell into that role. So like as far as like career stuff, I was like kind of always designing in a way. And like, yeah, I was just kind of doing that as like a day job. But then like, I was doing like other things. Like obviously, like when I was starting, I was working like two jobs. I was working at like a Starbucks as a barista. I like before that, after after I dropped out of San Jose State, I was like a pressure washer for a while, which was really sick actually in retrospect. It sucked at the time, like, but it was actually kind of cathartic. Just like power washing dirt off of trucks and like cement. Like it's such a like like a simple task, but there's like I don't know. You see, there's also Instagram. There's a whole Instagram reel. There's a subreddit on Reddit, pressure washing porn. I'll send it to you later.
I was just about to say, like on the topic of obscure videos that the algorithm feeds me, I actually watch a ton of videos of I'll send it to you actually. It's this guy that pressure washes driveways.
Oh, dude, sick.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. It's cool. I mean, don't open them if you have anything to do because you'll kind of get stuck for a bit. But it's very cool if you have the time.
I'll block some time off on my calendar to just like really get back into like pressure washing Instagram and like Reddit. like, like that shit's so cool. Like it's funny, like those like automated car washes with like the guns and shit.
Yeah,
Like I sometimes just go there just to like wash my car twice, just to like relive the catharsis of pressure washing shit.
It's very like I feel that kind of by watching them. So I assume doing what's actually happening feels even better. I think it's so cool that they figured out like a it's a job that actually is helping people like you're cleaning and but then also these videos just pull people in so they have like millions of views. This guy is probably monetized off his videos that he's just making when he's already getting paid at work. It's like double income, nice for the viewer, good for the people like getting a clean driveway. It's a win-win-win, which is extremely rare.
What if pressure washing like Instagram is just like a psyop by the government that just brainwashes people, like no pun intended, like brainwashes people into like conforming to like capitalism or some shit like that? Because it is fucking like hypnotic. Like there's something fucking about that. I'm gonna research that. Maybe that like if this like podcast thing doesn't work out for you and this creative thing doesn't work out for me, like maybe we'll start a pressure washing company and like have an Instagram and then like sell it to the United States military. And then like,
a a lucrative idea. I actually I can already see that making more money than podcasting does. I'll take you up on that and give me a bit of time to see if this works and if it doesn't.
I mean, it's kind of I mean the pressure washing part is that I mean I got the experience in that, so I'll get that covered. Like obviously I can do the branding. Like I can get like the logo and everything. Maybe honestly like maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just like hire someone off of Craigslist because it gets that like again like the outsider quality to it that like I can't replicate. But at least I can create a direct hit. And then like you on the podcast side, like you can start to like figure out like social strategies and like how to get that like social media aspect of it. And then like boom, we got a business. Like here in San Francisco, actually, like, you know, San Francisco is a little grimy at times, a lot of the time. So like there's a lot of pressure washers, and we've had to hire pressure washers for my day job, and they make a good amount of money. Like my boss was like, I forget the amount, but it was like solid amount of money for just pressure washing in San Francisco. So I'm like, huh, if like if this whole design thing doesn't work out, like pressure washing's an avenue. Like just save up for like a machine and stuff. Like I know how it works. I know what I need. So not a bad idea, huh?
It's a great idea. I'll keep tabs on it. I'll keep you posted. Actually, speaking of San Francisco, again, all over the place with the questioning. But are you actually? I think I know the answer, but you weren't like born and raised there, right? Are you an SF native?
Not SF like particularly. Like I was born in Redwood City, which is like down the peninsula, like technically. But then I lived in the East Bay in this town called Hercules. It's like past Berkeley, like it's like in between Berkeley and Vallejo. I lived there until I was like 8, and then I moved to Pacifica after, and that's just like 20 minutes south of San Francisco. So like um yeah, I lived there up until like my 20s. There was a brief stint in San Jose where I was like living in the dorms, but then I moved back to my parents. But been living here in San Francisco for like 6, 7 years now. But like my grandparents, my Lolo and Lola, um, they immigrated here from the Philippines in the 60s, and they bought a house originally in this, or they were living in the Soma for a little bit, and then they moved to the Castro. Bought a house there, still own the house. My Lola and Lola passed, but like we still own the house, and my Lola's sister still lives upstairs in the building. It's like a 2 unit house, so I visit there a lot, like as a kid, and like even in my teenage years, like when my Lola was still living there, I'd like visit her a lot, and like being in Pacifica, like you're just like I said, like a 20-minute drive, like, you know, mom, dad drops you off at BART, you just take BART in. So like I found myself like spending a lot of time in the city. Like, I was living in Pacifica, but it like San Francisco, like during that time, was like always felt like my home. So like, I when I had the opportunity to like finally move here, I just like moved here. So yeah, I've just been like here since. So I would technically like Bay Area is the correct answer because I kind of like lived in one part of the Bay Area aside from like North Bay, like Marin and shit at one point in my life. But if I were to claim a city, it would be San Francisco for sure.
Yeah, I didn't know what was the cool way to put it, but I was gonna say I think that would be all Bay Area, right? Like it's California for sure, right?
Yeah. Well, California is very different. It's funny. I was watching this DeMarcus Cousins like interview like recently, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to Sacramento, so I'm thinking it's like palm trees like LA." And I get there and it's like farmland. I thought it was like Alabama. So I was like, "Yeah, that's real." Like, I mean, like LA, like I feel like not to say that you think this way, but like I've definitely like encountered people like that think like California is all like palm, like as like DeMarcus Cousins said, like all palm trees and like beaches and shit. But like each area has its like own little shtick. But yeah, I mean California, but like end of the day, I always rep the Bay. Rhyme, rhyming. I was spitting out here.
And then did you move to SF like as a designer, right? Like the time seems to like is all the time that you've lived in SF were you technically a designer?
Yeah, yeah. So like I was I was working at the club at the time. It wasn't paying a lot of money, so I was like still living at my parents' house. And then like my grandmother's house, like after she passed away, like since we had like the house, um, my brother was like living there. I would like crash there occasionally. And so like I was always kind of like I was like always designing at that point. Like I was working at the club and like doing club activities and shit. But like, yeah, I was pretty much a designer aside from being also a barista at one point, just to kind of like have money outside of the club. Because yeah, clubs don't pay a lot of money, surprisingly.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah. hmm It's tough, man. Like the overhead is so high, and it's like, renting a space, like especially here in San Francisco, because like, rent's very high. So it's like having a space and then just like maintaining the space, having alcohol, having the correct permits, like it is not a cheap thing. So it's like, obviously like you get paid what you get paid. I was like happy for the opportunity and everything. And like, I was working in a space that I loved. Like I love the like club culture and just like going out, obviously. And like, I kind of just like made that sacrifice and just like, I'm just gonna like live at home. Like I don't have like the money to like live in San Francisco. It's obviously a goal. And like, I'm just gonna keep designing and like hopefully make enough money to be able to like sustain myself. But it was like kind of funny because like I was actually able to start living in the city with my club designer salary because like I eventually made my way up to like air quotes again creative director. So I was making enough to like live, with a roommate and like, not, you know, pretty humbly, but like now I've been like very thankful to just like, have my career to sustain myself in a very, very expensive city.
Yeah, is it I mean, I hear stories and read online about how expensive it is there lately. Is it like as crazy as I would see online?
Um, it's hard to tell being on the inside for so long. Like, I got lucky with the place that I'm at right now because like me and my partner at the time, like we moved in together and we got like a one bedroom apartment with like a half bedroom in the Sunset and that which is like really close to the park and yeah, just like a really chill neighborhood. And like I love this. I love the neighborhood, and it got kind of lucky because like it was like during like the mass exodus of tech people like during quarantine. So like rent was kind of like going down a little bit, and people like all these vacant like apartments and shit were popping up. So we got this apartment. We since broke up, and like I still live at the place because like in comparison to like similar places, like even without the half bedroom as my office, like it's like still more because now you have like all this AI tech coming in, and like that's starting to raise prices again. So it's like I guess for me it's hard to tell because like I just been living with it and dealing with it for so long. And like I guess like I guess when I travel to like different like cities and stuff like over the past couple years, like I do begin to be like a notice of it, and they're like, "Oh, this expensive sandwich spot is like $15. It's so expensive." I'm like, "Wait, $15 for a sandwich is like kind of normal in San Francisco if you want like a good sandwich." So I'm like, my perspective is a little skewed a little bit. So probably to answer your question, it probably is crazy from like an outsider, but like I don't know, since like I said, since I've been here for so long, I kind of just like have had to like deal with it and like kind of figure out like how to work against it. Like, like shopping at Trader Joe's and not Whole Foods, and like, thrifting more, and like not being very like conscious of how many times I eat out, or the nice thing that I want if like I could buy it or whatever. So
Have you like ever considered moving, or like you're set on being there?
um I mean, I love being here. Like it's comfortable. Like I said, like I came here a lot as a kid, and I have like a lot of emotional attachment to it. Like though there's like a lot of turnover, like it's a very transient city at times. Like there's been multiple waves of like tech, like obviously like artists have been pushed out, but then like new artists come about, and like I love the city, and like I love being here, and like it is a home. Like I definitely like am open to like moving to other places like New York. I've thought about like living in London or Berlin, but I'm kind of just like rolling with the punches right now, just kind of seeing where it goes. Like I'm not like actively looking, but like if the opportunity arises, like I would definitely like look at it. But yeah, I'm not really too upset if I don't move out of here. And like, I thankfully I get to travel a lot, which is like really cool, like for work. And I just like, when I who doesn't like traveling when they take time off, but it's like I travel quite a bit, so I'm able to get that feeling of like being away from your home and like experiencing like different living accommodations and shit. Like I mean, I would honestly, I wouldn't live in LA. I'm just like such a diehard Giants fan that I just hate the Dodgers so much that like if I see Dodger shit, I would like lose my mind. But like at times when I would work, like I would spend like a month in LA. So it's like I adapt to it really quickly, and I'm just like living down there and come back up here, and it's like my home base. So I kind of like that for me right now. Like I don't know in 5 years if that will change or not, but like yeah, I mean for now, yes, I'm gonna be here for a minute while I'm like traveling a lot. It's hard to move when you're like traveling so much.
What's with I've noticed a huge hatred of the Dodgers by people who are like kind of in proximity to the Dodgers. I didn't know about this, but I have like some friends that are even like Maine, LA, and when they were in the World Series, I just assumed that they like the Dodgers. I guess to add more context there, friends of mine that I know are huge baseball fans. So I assume they would like the home team if they love baseball. ask them about it, almost like get an offensive or like an offended response to my message, and they're like, "No, we hate the Dodgers with the passion. Like we would never go to a game." Like they hate it, and then I ask other people. There just seems to be a lot of people that hate the Dodgers that are so close to it. Like, why do you hate them?
I mean, I'm a Giants fan. Like the Giants are like their biggest rival is the Dodgers, so it's like I was kind of born to not like the Dodgers. And like it's just like I don't know. I just it's in my blood. I guess I bleed orange or whatever. But like yeah, it's just like the biggest it's one of the biggest rivalries in like baseball and you can argue even sports. But I think on more like a general sense, rather than my like region, my home team bias is like the Dodgers right now. They're just like buying up the best fucking people. Like they got Shohei on this like crazy deal where like everything is like deferred until like after his contract's up, which is stupid. And then like I guess like if you're familiar with like baseball history, it's like the Yankees and like the late, I mean the Yankees over time, where it's just like they just have this like unlimited money supply and they're just buy the best people and they just keep winning. And I guess that's just like a motif of sports in general. It's just like people love to watch you like rise and that whole underdog story, but like once you're on top and like winning a bunch of championships and stuff, like people start hating you because it's like, oh, you fucking like you fucking spoiled ass motherfucker. Like you don't deserve like blah blah blah. I mean, I experienced that with the Warriors here because I'm a Warriors fan. Embarrassment of riches with like getting Kevin Durant and shit. And like after we went like 73-9 and then like Steph's kind of like going crazy. So like I kind of understood it, but like anybody who knows like the Warriors were like dog shit for like the longest time. And like the only like team that was like beloved, I mean, I guess not really. Well, their teams were beloved if you were a fan, but like the team that was just like good that everyone like hung their hat on and have like a great memory of was just like the '07 We Believe team. And that was just like such a crazy moment to be in the Bay, like the hyphy movement's going wild. Warriors were good. Like it was just like a good vibe all around and they were only like the eighth seed, but they like beat the number one seed. So like they had like there was like a beloved underdog story. But then yeah, like once you get on top, like people kind of hate that when you're like, you know, you're in your sports team. But like if you live in the city, it's great. Like I love like during when the Warriors were winning all those championships, even when the Giants were winning all those championships, it was great time to be that type of fan. But I get it. I also I also like, you know, as much as I hate the Dodgers and like from a rivalry standpoint because of my home team, like I understand that whole like dynamic being a Warriors fan of like people don't really have a reason other than they're winning. They're just really good. They have the best players, you know?
Do you like baseball more than basketball?
Well, I grew up playing baseball, so I started playing baseball when I was like 8 when I moved to Pacifica. I started playing more baseball. I like I was I was more of a baseball fan for sure. Like I've been really bad on just like keeping up on sports lately. But yeah, I would consider myself more of a baseball guy. I do like basketball a lot, but if I my first love was always baseball. And like, you know, I kind of going back on that like We Believe team, like I think it was like before that, I was just kind of like watching here and there. Like I played like NBA Street because the game was like really sick. Like during the 90s, like, you know, when I was a kid, like obviously like everyone loved Michael Jordan. And like it was funny. I was just telling my friend this morning, like he like sent me a video of like Penny Hardaway on the Magic. And I was like, damn, Penny Hardaway was like my favorite player as a kid because like when I first started playing basketball. I was on the team, the Magic, and he was on the Magic. So like, oh, I like Penny Hardaway now. But like, I didn't play much basketball. I played a little bit, but not a lot. But I played more baseball than anything. I played up until I graduated high school, and then I like kind of focused on like art and like going to college and partying, I guess. And like yeah, baseball is like my number one love. Like I still pay attention. I'm actually looking at like a Michael Jordan like baseball card that I had when you like played baseball for a second. Like I have like a Ken Griffey Jr. like bobblehead. Yeah, I'm a big baseball guy.
That's so funny you bring that up. I lately have explained to like two or three different friends of mine about when Michael Jordan played NBA and MLB, and they like basically didn't believe me. Like they had to fact check it and then find it out. Like I don't know if that's as public knowledge as it should be.
I don't know. It should be. Here, I'm gonna show you the card on camera real quick. Pretty sick, huh? It's just like a him swinging a bat and probably missing. I guess not. I get like I don't know. It's kind of funny. Like I'm a big sports guy. Like it's nice in like my day job. Like I get to work on a lot of like sports clients and stuff. So it kind of like feeds that interest. But then like, I have my flyers on the side to feed the music interest. But I guess like it's funny because like when I'm in the music world, like there's only like few people that are like really like avid sports fans. Like my good buddy Tommy, like I throw parties with him and like, been in the club scene for a while with him. And it's funny because like I think it was like a couple weeks ago, we were just kind of like sitting in the green room, just being nonverbal, and then all of a sudden he just kind of looks at me and goes, "Have you been following OKC?" And then we just started talking about sports for a while. And it's not really like a place of people talking about sports. And I guess it isn't public knowledge. Like until like I started, because like a lot of my friends growing up were like sports fans and they kind of followed it. And then like as I got older into like the club scene, like a lot of people didn't watch sports, don't watch sports, or like, there's that whole joke about sports ball and like all that shit. I kind of feed into it a little bit and just like um kind of play along and just like understand the humor behind it. But I also like don't hide the fact that I love it. Like I love watching sports. I watch football too. I'd past couple of years now I've been starting to get more into like international football, like soccer, like following a little bit more like Premier League and like Champions League, a little bit of La Liga as well. Just like it's interesting, it's fun.
Who's your team in soccer?
Uh Okay. I don't really have a team. I do love like it's kind of like the fantasy football approach. Like I love individual players. Like I started liking Alexander Isak. He's on Liverpool now, but like he's sucking on Liverpool. Liverpool is tragedy right now. But like Alexander Isak's one of them. Rodrigo on Real Madrid. That fucking header in Champions League is like iconic. Who else? I like Phil Foden because he just kind of looks like a UK like a UK DJ, which is like kind of funny. Like he kind of has the haircut. Like there's this DJ Evian Christ who also loves like football. And like him and like another DJ, he like posted a picture of him and like Jude Bellingham, or he posted a picture of Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden next to each other and said that they were that was them and they looked exactly like them, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, who else? I guess there's like older players that I do like Zidane, of course. Like his shit was just like so poetic and like interesting to watch. And then there was like I'm a Modric fan. I just like have an obsession for Croatia. So like um yeah, Modric is another one. Like who else? I think that covers like the big ones. There's like other ones too, like Declan Rice and some of the Arsenal heads.
I I admit I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know who any of those people are. But I was having fun just letting you tell them. I'm sure listeners are gonna love that, but I will admit that I have no idea what any of that is.
I mean, it'd be funny. I mean, I know if Tommy listens to this, I know he'll know who I'm talking about, or like some of my coworkers, if they listen to it, they'll know. Definitely. I mean, my coworker Steven put me on to Alexander Isak. So like shout out to him for putting me on. So I'd like watch like clips of him and just like I don't know, man. Like the kind of thing with like sports is like it's I see it as like very creative in a way. Like especially in soccer. Like, like dribbling the ball, shooting, and just like it's kind of cool how they like present it as well. Like I feel like in like the 2000s in Premier League, it's hard to like talk about it and then like show the hand motions. Only you can see my hand motions. But like when they would do like free kicks like in front of the goal, they'd have this camera that would like start low and like move high and be very dynamic. And it would like show them kicking the ball in a very creative way. And like they started doing this thing like I think it was like in the 2000s when they would like lift the Champions League trophy. Like they would have like a Dutch angle, and for those who don't know what a Dutch angle is, it's like you're shooting and it's like tilted. So they'd have like a Dutch angle of like them holding up like a trophy, which is like kind of sick and like creative in a way. So yeah, it's really interesting. Like I feel like the heads that aren't into sports need to see the creative merit behind it because it's a lot. It's really cool in a way, you know.
Yeah, and like I'm glad you bring that up. I'm admittedly kind of a newer fan to I've been watching hockey for a bit, like where we are. Edmonton Oilers are kind of iconic in the NHL, even though I mean some people are probably gonna hate this, but they haven't really won in 40 years, but everyone goes crazy still every game. And I'm new to baseball. Like recently, actually, when LA played Toronto, I got really into that and started like paying attention to a lot of the aesthetics of the game that weren't the actual game. So it's like, I mean, everyone's watching for the playing, and I love that too. But then I would like talk with my girlfriend about how I feel they're way more like composed and poised in like after game interviews. I think the stadiums are, in my opinion, I think baseball stadiums are the coolest like sports auditorium. Like I like them more than hockey rings, more than football fields. I was just paying attention to all the stuff no one else really would, but I totally get what you mean, like with the creativity and like people who don't really even care about the sport necessarily might give this stuff a chance because you can like pick and pull certain things from it that maybe aren't like the initial thing that the average person would pull from it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, if real quick, if you're ever out in San Francisco, like hit me up. I'll take you to a Giants game. Like the stadium is beautiful. Like right on the bay. Like there's like a promenade where that you can walk like right next to the water. And like people get on boats and they go into McCovey Cove. That's what it's called. Like the body of water. And like on certain parts of the stadium, you have like a beautiful view. Like even just there's not a bad seat in the house. Like you can sit up in the nosebleeds and you get a beautiful view of like on like a nice day, like you get a beautiful view of like the Bay Bridge and um like out in the bay and shit. And it's like it's so nice and like, the like you mentioned, just like the architecture is just like fantastic. And it's just like you don't really notice that unless you like go and experience it. And like, like there's this like jock archetype. And like granted, yes, like a lot of it is kind of suspect, or like some of it is. Like I get it. I get why people are kind of like drawn away from it. But like you said, it's just like a lot of things you can kind of extrapolate like what interests you about it. And like being creative and like being an artist or designer or whatever, if you're a musician, what have you, like it goes with like anything, really. It's like you can find like inspiration from virtually anything. Like, I find like kind of what I was saying, it's just like, the way that Zinedine Zidane was playing was just like poetic and like the way he moved and like the poise and just like there's ways you can like even if it's not like a direct one-to-one reference, like you can understand that emotion, that feeling, and that like movement and like translate it into something else. So yeah, I recommend people just like go on YouTube, just watch like the mixtapes because like even those are kind of interesting. Like the music selection's kind of shitty at times, but like the way that people cut these things together, just like highlighting these like skills and like these different aspects of the game, you don't get that in like a live broadcast. I mean, like, as you're like new to baseball, like it used to be like so slow and like drawn out, and that was like a big, deterrent of people watching it. But like if you just watch clips of it, like people turning double plays, like there's so many things I need to send you, but like there's this one player in like the 2010s, Josh Harrison. He would play for the Pirates for the longest time. But there's this compilation video of just like him getting in pickles and getting out of them. And there's like some of the craziest things, like wild things. There was like, are you familiar with, Ichiro, right? Like everyone knows Ichiro.
I don't know if I do.
Oh, okay. Probably the famous Japanese baseball player, complete savant when it comes to baseball. Like he he was like kind of a cheat code in baseball. Like he just get infield hits and like beat him out most of the time. And there used to be it's not on YouTube. I've been like trying to find it. It's like there was a series called Ichiro Making Infielders Look Stupid. And it's like he he affected how people played just because of his talents. Like it's kind of insane. And like it actually had a good soundtrack. It had like 2000s like hip hop beats, like underground hip hop beats. So it was actually like a really sick watch. Like I would actually like rewatch it if I'm just like bored for like I'll just watch the whole series and just like have it on the background because it would just be like baseball commentary on top of like dope fucking like underground hip hop beats. So I was like, oh, this is like actually really cool and artistic.
This sounds incredible. Please send me everything, but send that for sure.
Oh yeah. I'll try to remember. You'll If I don't send it after this weekend, like remind me. I'll make you like a whole playlist of like my favorite like baseball YouTube videos. And it's just like I said, just like kind of niche things because like I played it. So it's like I kind of look for those things of those like kind of funny like weird things because like baseball is a very weird sport. Like it's kind of odd. Like there's guys in like tight pants swinging like a club, this round ball, and there's like weird rules around it. It's like I guess that's why I gravitated towards it, maybe unconsciously when I was a kid. But yeah, there's like really good like even outside of just like highlight compilations, like there's this one YouTube channel called Baseball Doesn't Exist. And it's just like this guy talking about like weird like characters in baseball, like um there was this guy named Lonnie Smith who like did a bunch of cocaine and like fucking did like all this crazy shit, but he was like really good. And then there's this other one called I forget, Winning RBI, where this guy makes this series called Dudes, and it's like this is mustache dudes or like fish name dudes, and it's just like random baseball players that kind of fit under this like umbrella. And there's actually surprisingly a lot of baseball players like within those categories. And it's like super niche, but it's just really interesting. And like I get, every sport has that, but it seems like baseball has like the most weird stuff. Like, I mean, there's like the famous thing about Doc Ellis taking LSD before a baseball game and like throwing a no like, like what the fuck? Like, it's so wild. And then there's like the cocaine parrot in Pittsburgh. The cocaine trials of the 80s in baseball. There was like so much cocaine going around. Surprisingly, it's in the 80s, but like the mascot of the Pirates, he was a parrot, was the dealer, which is hilarious. Like, what the
I've never heard about this. This is like public lore.
Um, I mean, not to the average everyday person, probably, or like even baseball fan. I mean, I guess like I'm just like a geek for that shit. So, cause like, yeah, like I just love it. So like I always search for like deeper content. So you kind of find out about it. I guess it was a big, I mean, if maybe if you like, I wasn't alive in the 80s or like, yeah, I wasn't even a thought in the 80s. So it's like, maybe it was like public knowledge because it was like a big scandal, kind of like the steroid era or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. It's just like weird happenings and weird stories. And I guess like, as things are becoming more public knowledge, like through YouTube and like, exposés and like memoirs and shit, like it's becoming more readily available, or this information is becoming more readily available, I guess.
No, that's perfect. Like I was saying, I love watching the game, like when the game is on, but then outside of that, I would like to fill my head with the most obscure knowledge about the cocaine trials and all this other stuff. Like it sounds good. Like it sounds like the icing on the cake, right? Like it's good to watch a game with your friends that only care about the game, but then in between games, I want to learn about all the weird stuff that not everyone knows about.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, remind me. I'll send you some deep cuts for
I
sure.
I will for sure. It's funny. I didn't know exactly where this convo was gonna go. I'm really extremely happy it went where it went, but yeah, it didn't. I mean, I'm glad we talked a bit about your design and what you do. I would have liked to know a bit more about it, maybe, but I also don't want to keep you any longer than I said I would. I also don't want to, going on and on about whatever it makes people tune out. For some reason, no one has attention span, so maybe
Let's
we should have a round two in a couple of months. Maybe we'll detail the starting of our pressure washing company when it comes to that for both of us.
Oh man, if we got a little bit more time, if you got any more questions about like I have plenty to just talk about design, but yeah, I have a little time right now if you want to keep talking a little bit.
Let me look at what I had here, and then I never edit stuff around, but maybe I can plug some of these in the beginning. I was just gonna ask because I love asking people this type of stuff, but do you remember like when you started designing, what would have been your first like paid gig? Like what was the first design that you were paid for?
It's funny because like this is like honestly like the best segue into the design talk because my very first like paid gig was making bootleg Giants t-shirts for this guy that came into this Starbucks I worked at. He made bootleg Giants t-shirts and like sold it outside of like the stadium and shit. So like that was actually my first job. Was like I have a couple like somewhere in my apartment. But yeah, that was like the first one. And it was like kind of really sick. Like I loved doing it because I was like, oh yeah, like I get to do like design work and like, but also like I love baseball. So I'm like doing it for baseball and shit. And like yeah, that was honestly my first one. And it was like, it's kind of funny. Like actually like he still sells t-shirts. His name's 49er Frank. Not to put him on blast or anything, but like um he still like makes t-shirts and like sells it outside the stadium. So like I would go to games occasionally and like I ran into him recently and I was like, yo, like what's up, man? Like it's been a minute and like we'd catch up and I was like telling him, I'm like, yo, like I'm actually like in the field now. Like I made the cut or I was like I've been working on like EA Sports and like working with like Madden and like like doing all these like doing Nike stuff. Like it would be sick to like make a bootleg t-shirt again. So like I still haven't done it and I probably would do it for free. And like I just need to like hit him up and just actually do it. But yeah, that was like my first one. It was like pretty fucking cool.
I assume you've learned like eons about design from then to now. Like fast
Yeah.
forward to now, you probably a much more efficient designer.
Yeah, I think like so just a TLD. I guess it's like a too long, not as long. It's like my path to where I'm at today, like I went to San Jose State. I mentioned that. Like I dropped out because I was living on my own for the first time. I was just like super fucking like naive and like a child and like was just like partying too much, not going to school. So I dropped out and I came back home and I started going to City College here in SF and I took the design program here and it was like it's a really good program. Like it took 2 years to get my AA, but I ended up staying for four because like I wanted to take every class because like even the teachers were like in the industry because like it's kind of a hotbed over here like whether it's in tech or like you have different corporations here like they had the experience and they were like passing down knowledge so I was just like absorbing it and then like at the time I was working at the club so I was like I was in school doing that and then like from that, I graduated with an AA. I applied to CCA, which is the art school out here. I got accepted, but my dad passed away at the time, so it was a bit rough. So like I ended up not going to CCA, but I had a lot of friends that went. So like they'd give me guest passes. I would just go chill with them in the studio and just like hang out. And then I just kept working. Like I during that time, like was it 17, 18, like I mentioned earlier, it was just like, Instagram design was like community was kind of popping off. So I was like, developing through that, like posting a lot, like working there. And then like 2020 happened. I got laid off at the club. And then I started picking up contract gigs for like agencies and stuff. So even like from that, like working in the agency, like I'm the type of person that like if you throw me in, like I'll figure it out or like I'll adapt and like I'll try to like learn from it. Obviously I'm gonna make my mistakes, but like as a learner, like I kind of like need to see it in order to like absorb it and like kind of go through it. And like even at my job now, like yeah, I was like trained to be a designer, but like I'm also an art director. So like what that entails is like, look and feel of like photo shoots and like, figuring out the production of that and like dealing with that. And I kind of fell into that role because like at the time we got the EA Sports covers in 2023, so it was like the 2024 year. Um, like I knew a lot about sports, obviously, like I was familiar with the games, so like my boss was like, "Oh yeah, like, we're gonna throw you on set and like, learn how to art direct and everything." So I kind of like fell into that and the skills and like understanding of design helped me with like doing art direction, which is great and just like knowing that taste level and like what you're trying to accomplish. So it's like I even learned a lot about that recently and like I'm still learning a lot. This will be our yeah. I've been like since 2023 when I started going on like big shoots, like it was probably be a like in the aughts. No. Probably like 10, maybe 20. No, definitely under 20. Anyway, I've been on a lot of shoots, so like I know a lot now. And like, I just been working on photo. Eventually I'll learn like video and like all that other stuff. So even like yeah, where I started, like I was just like learning like Photoshop and shit. And then like, it kind of turned into this like overarching, like more skills and like, as industries progress, like I'll probably learn more. And that's like what gets me excited. Just like continue learning and like, seeing how things develop and like, obviously learn new skills.
That's good. Like I think when I was younger, someone gave me some advice about like the way to like maintain an interest in any lane of life is you have to like stay kind of being a fan of that thing. Like you stay kind of hungry for that knowledge instead of thinking like you conquered it and like there's not much more to learn. And it sounds like maybe not the exact same approach, but you seem like quite willing to adapt and like into like even if you don't love all this new stuff, you'll like learn how it goes and learn how it incorporates into what you're already doing. So it sounds like even if you wouldn't put it this way, you are still a fan of it all, and maybe that's what like keeps it all sustainable.
Yeah. I think like yeah, like for sure. Like, I have a love and passion for it. Like it's it's something I want to like keep nourishing. Like, like what I just like illustrated was like what past 10, 15 years of my life of just like getting to where I want to be. Like I wanted to work in an agency, like work professionally, like make a living off of it. And like I would say over the past like year or two, I've been kind of like trying to figure out like what the next moves are. And like, I in a way like kind of got bogged down by like the hustle and grind of it, where it's just like, oh yeah, I need to like get the job, or like I need to get clout or whatever the fuck. And like I think like recently it's more of like a holistic way of like what I want to do. Like right, like one of the things that I've been doing is just like write down principles of like my own craft and like understanding it a little bit better. Like what are the things that I live by rather than like what institutions or like, the design community or whatever creative community like lives by. So it's just like even just started writing those down and just trying to figure out like what's my manifesto, what's my way of like approaching shit. And then like even just like aesthetically, like I don't know if you like kind of like scrolled through my gram a little bit, but it's like even just like recently, like I just been creating craving like more like abstract, like texture-based stuff. And like even just like not even just from an aesthetic standpoint of like looking at it and being like, oh, that looks cool, like that's great, or like trying to put a finger on it. And like just in like recently where I'm just like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna start considering this as like new psychedelic art that like kind of pertains to like my my view on psychedelics and like the history of like psychedelic art in here in San Francisco. So it's like, I'm just like trying to like obviously like advance in my career, make a living, yada yada yada, but like I'm trying to think a little bit deeper now that I'm like, working comfortably and I'm like living comfortably, like doing it, like kind of like thinking, yeah, like I said, like thinking deeper, because I feel like that gets lost over time. Like, you kind of lose that like that child curiosity like over time because you're just like so burnt out from like the grind and like, which is fine, like we said, mindless reality TV, but it's just like it's kind of made me zoom out a little bit and just kind of like think about like why do I love this, and like what are the things that like that push me and like keep me curious and keep me loving what I'm doing. So yeah, it's been fun like doing that and like being able to experiment on like my recent work, and like I said, like um, working on principles. It's funny, I have them up right now, just just in case if I need to read them off.
Are you like a fan? I'm just thinking about like now it's kind of the time of year when a lot of people started thinking more about certain things like that just because of resolutions and whatnot. Are you a fan of New Year's resolutions or do you just have them all year?
Um, not really. It's funny because like I'm only laughing because it's like I go to the gym a lot, so it's like I just think of New Year's resolutions as like the people that like get a gym membership for January and then like whatever again. Not to say those who do that, it's bad. Like good, get healthy, but like continue with it, my kings. But like not really like I said, like I had like long-term goals and like I do have short-term goals, but like I don't really like use like the new year as like a way of like, oh yeah, this is how I'm gonna plan out the new year or anything. It's like, I kind of keep it loose in a way of just like, oh yeah, in a couple months, like I want to figure this out, or like the past couple months for me, like right now, I mean, it's kind of mundane, but it's like, I have been traveling a lot, so it's just like I want to get my apartment in order. So it's like my goal is to like get a new couch or like make it comfortable so that like I can like sit in the winter. So it's like kind of situation based, but like I guess like if I had like I guess like if I had to have a New Year's resolution in a way, like it'd just be like a continuation of like what I've been working on and like kind of use it's not more of like a New Year's resolution, it's more of like an old year reflection, if anything. Because like, we kind of look at it like going into New Year, what do we want to do? Like I'm thinking about it now, I kind of like use that time to kind of like reflect like, what have I done? Like where where were my wins? Where were my losses? What can I get better? What have I been doing good at? Like that I feel like I use it more of like that, if anything, and then just kind of like carry over like certain long-term, short-term goals into the new year, just like based on that reflection.
No, that's perfect. I mean, asking that question, I assume you would think that I'm into resolutions, but I'm not really either. I like to know if other people are. But what I do around this time of year is I think uh about exactly what you said. Just how can I get better at whatever I've been into this year and the new year, I think about how can I do that better or how can I be more efficient or like polish that a bit more. I'm not huge in the resolutions, but I'm thinking about kind of improvement around this time of year.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're inside, like it's winter time. It's a good time to reflect and like,
Yeah.
we as humans love to like use those benchmarks as like ways to like put a pin in something as like a way like it's like the breadcrumb trail. It's just kind of like we see it as a way of like renewal and everything. So yeah, it's a good time to reflect because like we don't just sit down and think about that sometimes because like we're all moving so fast. It's like that rise and grind culture. Like I'm a I'm definitely a subject of that. Like I actually do text my friends rise and grind sometimes. But like we're kind of like caught up in that. We don't like really zoom out, like I said, and just kind of like look at like the landscape and just kind of like absorb it and like see what it is. Cause like when you're in the weeds, you're gonna miss that shit. And like you're not gonna like appreciate it or like, take what you've learned or learn from it or anything. So no, it's really good to like be able to do that and like, I recommend that for people and like, it's good that you're able to do that as well. And like, it's always a trip, like even just like m- looking at my own life and just like looking at my own career, it's just like I've spent a lot of time like looking back, like I actually do this talk or I've done this talk a couple times for like a couple schools. I actually did it at Parsons, which was like kind of funny because like I didn't go to art school, and it just talked about my like it talked about my life and my career, and I called the presentation "How the hell did I get here?" Um, so it's like it was kind of interesting because I started doing that like a year or two ago, like kind of around that time when I was saying like I was kind of like trying to figure out like what I want to do next and like where I want to go with this, like my career and just like me being a designer, artist, whatever. So like it was a good exercise because I kind of like reflected on my whole career and like pulling up old work and just like seeing like how far I've come as a person or as like an artist and like seeing old work. I was just like, oh God, that's awful. Like the fuck. And then like thinking about it, I was like, whoa, like compared to what it is now, like it's kind of a trip. And it's like you worked for that and like that's something to be proud of. And it's like, it's hard for myself or a lot of people just like acknowledge that. But it's like, we gotta take time and like look at that process. And even just like even with like social media and stuff, like, I mean, you do start to see those like process reels, but like, a lot of the time you don't see like what was left on the cutting room floor and like, you don't see the process of like how people got to where they are. You just see the finished product. And it's like, it's good to see that for especially with like younger people that want to like get through it. Like it's not instant. Like I said, and like I think it was like off air, it's like people are chasing that virality on social media and like it's fucks up how we think about process and like we think it's just going to come right away when you kind of have to go through these hoops and like go through the trials and tribulations of like where you want to go. So it's like, reflecting is zooming out and reflecting is like a big thing, I've been trying to integrate more into my own life and like even just like reflecting on my creative career and everything.
Yeah, no, that's I agree. I also should think about it maybe even more than you are. I always say I'm gonna give this more thought and then never give it the thought it deserves, but that's really good sentiment, good advice. Like anyone listening, take that with more than a grain of salt. I think it's good for people to like think about things that way and operate that way as well. I have one more question that I thought sounded smart. I have it written down, so I'm gonna ask you. You asked before, like I definitely scroll through like so much of your work. I'm a huge fan, but when I'm looking at it all, I think like it's I mean, I've heard you say happy accident to describe a lot of it. So I'm wondering like if that is kind of the underlying like motif of a lot of things. How do you decide when one of your designs is finished?
It's it's funny because like I guess like obviously like the simple answer is the design is finished when the deadline happens. Like one of my coworkers said that. So it's like
That's so funny. I actually had in my head the answer would be something exactly like that. That's so funny.
but no, it's like yes, like the short answer is that. But like the real like what I how I think of it is just like it's never really over, like ever, because like, you know, like I said, like there's a lot of like stuff on the cutting room floor that's kind of left around. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes I kind of like take bits and pieces like from what was previously used and like put into like newer ideas, but like there's certain ideas that just kind of like travel across over time. Like, you know, there have been a couple times where I've just like scroll my Instagram and just like go further down and just like see something where I'm just like, why don't I try that again and like evolve that idea? So like, I don't think it's like ever done, and that's like totally fine. Like there's no like the catharsis is coming from developing the idea rather than the finished product. And like I think like I personally get a lot of joy out of that, just like continuing and just like evolving and like growing off of that. So short answer, yes, it is when the deadlines happen, but then also it's like, thinking more like philosophically, like it never ends and that's totally fine. And like you kind of have to accept that. And like, the only thing that's ever true is death and taxes. So it's like, you know, it'll the beauty of art is just like a lot of things do kind of like fade away per se, but like, the idea stays and like it lives over time and it becomes timeless in a way. And it's just like, I try to think about that in my own work. It's just like, we live in this digital age where like things get lost over time even easier than before. Like it's just like one corrupt hard drive away from like disappearing forever. It's, if you don't have photos transferred from like one iPhone to another, it's like you lose photos over time. So it's like trying to like preserve that, and it's not just an idea. It's like, how do you preserve these things over time so that they aren't finished? Like you almost don't want them to be finished. Like, you just want to like continue with it. Like I'll be gone whenever I'm gone, but like hopefully like, you know, s- some of this knowledge would be passed down to like somebody that would pass on somebody who passed on to somebody and just continue to be unfinished. And there's like something really beautiful about that and like everlasting about that. That's like that I love and enjoy and I try to like think about more often. And yeah.
My girlfriend is gonna love this. I actually like I say like word for word so many of the things you just referenced. I talk about the death and taxes thing like quite often. And just the other day I was complaining about like everyone puts everything on a hard drive, but if that hard drive something happened or you lose it, everything is just on this tiny little lacy and it's gone forever. So it's like everyone thinks they're backing everything up, but they're making it pretty easy to lose.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I so it's funny you said New Year's resolution, and I'm telling you, actually, one of my New Year's resolutions from like the top of the year, I told myself the beginning of the year that I was gonna like make a book of like the past 10 years of my life, and like it was mostly just like photos and just like art and like writing that I have that I like haven't seen the light of day. So like I started like reviving old iPhones and like trying to like pull pictures off of it, and like I would dump them on a hard drive over time, but like some of them I would miss. But like I lost one of the hard drives that one of the iPhone photos was on. So there's like a blank period of time for this book where I don't have a lot of content from. So it's like it's so real. Like how do we preserve this content over this like photos and like art over time from digital work? Like I'm just like trying to find different ways of doing it. And like one of my things lately, I haven't uploaded anything yet, but like, sites like archive.org, like Internet Archive, like I love going to thrift stores, and it's like kind of part of like the whole DJing thing. It's like I love like lost media, and like I go to like thrift stores sometimes and like find like weird like CDs of like I found one of like the Grand Cherokee like starter kit of like how to turn on your like audio system, and it's like kind of sick because it's just like this instructional thing with like really weird jazz on it. But it's like who else has that? Like it's probably stowed away in someone's garage or attic. So it's like there's sites like Internet Archive where it's you can upload things. So I want to start like all these like CDs I have. I want to like convert them to like digital format and then like put it on Internet Archive so that it has like a home and like can live there for however long those servers are up. And I think like, yeah, sorry, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, good, great idea. Like it's always it's good to have access to all that, especially if someone is interested in it later. It's gonna help, like, gonna further the next generation. Like that info is nice for you to be nostalgic with, but it's actually gonna like benefit someone younger trying to like revive a lost way of doing something, like starting the audio in a Jeep or something. Totally, very cool, good idea.
Yeah. It's like, we think about that like as we get older, like even just like our parents and grandparents, like they had heirlooms like to pass down, like things within our family. And like we have that, but then like what's something from like my time of living that I can pass down. So it's like we're stuck in this like, digital we're in this digital space, and it's like it like we said earlier, it's just like one hard drive away from being lost. Like so it's like, obviously like getting physical things is great, but it's just like how do we preserve these digital artifacts that can be like passed down to different generations? Like I like for example, I've actually been playing a lot of Pokemon recently. Like I just found my 3DS and I've just been fucking going hard on it recently. And like I have like my old Pokemon cartridge from like when I was like 10, and I had so many bangers on there. And like I want to get it like on my 3DS, but there's no way of like transferring it from your cartridge unless you do some kind of cutty shit to like get it there. But there's like not a legit way of doing that. And there's just like, it got me thinking like, yeah, like there's technology is like advancing so fast, like we don't think of like backwards compatibility. So it's like even like old digital media from like the 2000s and like when it was like really starting to become in vogue. like a lot of our media or a lot of our like devices now, like how do they access this old media that's just like living in this thing that's probably gonna get sold at a Goodwill or like probably get thrown in the trash. So it's like I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious of like how do I store that and like how do I save it? Whether it's like putting it on hard drives, like putting on a cloud somewhere. Like I said, like Internet Archive, like making it public and everything. So yeah, I think like just trying to be more conscious of that and like kind of going back on like what you're saying earlier, it's like just trying to make things like live forever and just not, well, live longer than its shelf life because it's like we live in an age where like things come and go so fucking fast. Like, you'll lose something so quick if you're just like not if you're not paying attention to it or like saving it or whatever. So I think it's like it's definitely become a thing for me to just try and like be more conscious of that. Not, I mean, I'm a hoarder, so I have a lot of shit in here and try to like really like put things aside that really need to like stay and being passed down. It's like, it's like trends, trends come and go and they come and go in an instant and it happens a lot very fast now. So it's like, trying to find that longevity in an age where things are kind of like lightning in a bottle and move so fast and they get lost over time so quickly.
It's hilarious that you would say that about like media from the 2000s. I have a lot of like really older like camcorders like mini DV, VHS-C. I play around with those. They're somewhat easy to get that footage onto a computer, but then right around like the 2000s to the 2010s, it seems like all that is very easy to hook up to a computer. Like it's all USB on one end, but it's impossible. I just yesterday actually revived. I found I have a fourth gen iPod that I knew worked because I stopped using it because of its relevancy, like not because it was damaged. I just moved on. So I plugged it in and started immediately, but now there's no way to like you can't play it in a car, you can't like there's no speaker, Bluetooth. So I just immediately I was like, you know what, this is cool. It's kind of like a time capsule. It's all the music that I listened to in 2004. I'm not gonna change anything. I'm just gonna use it as is and listen to Dipset like I did
Ah,
in 2004.
sick. I love Dipset. Hell yeah. Like
And yeah, it's amazing. I was just talking about how, like, the early 2000s seem to be the hardest era to pull digital media from, even though, like, when we were in it, like, when it was 2004 and I got that iPod, I thought, I'm in the future now. Like, we're like flying cars cannot be that far off. And now it's like, I can plug it in and that's about it. I gotta put wired headphones and can't like change anything, but it's got however many gigs of exactly what I was listening to and probably my most formative years anyway. So I'm looking forward to revisiting it, but no new transfers, no new technology. It's just kind of like a time capsule from then.
yeah, well, if there's any engineers or anybody in the tech world listening right now, please stop developing AI for the military industrial complex and think about backwards compatibility to technology in the 2000s so we can listen to Dipset. Like,
Yeah.
please. Like,
Please,
please,
please do. We implore
please.
you.
I know I can listen to it on like YouTube or Spotify, but like, come on, man. Like, come on, dude. Like, there's cooler things you can do. Like, you can get like your culture points up and like you can get your like cool points up if you just do that. Like please. Like, like, come on, man. Yeah, there's so much stuff that I have, and it's that era, I know why this happened. It's just like, technology and like how it advanced, and we weren't thinking about that at the time. I think we're like becoming more conscious of it, but like again, it's just like the overarching idea of just like reflection and like especially in like the tech world, like I feel like there's this overall like idea where it's just like, oh, it's the new product, it's like the best thing, and we're always focused on the best thing, but like again, on reflection, it's just like we're always so fixated on like the finished product, but never like the process of getting there. And it's like, kind of like circling back on on like this overall conversation like that we're having right about this topic. It's like, we do need to think a little bit of like, how we got here and reflect a little bit more. Because there's this one saying that I like kind of like reminding myself it's just like my past informs my present informs my future. So you kind of have to like work in those guys and like not forget, because like yeah, it's good to live in the moment and like think about the best thing possible right now, but it's like, we got to think about the ramifications of the future and also like learn and not make the same mistakes that we did in the past. So I think it's good. It's a necessary part of like living and just like creating and like, a lot of facets of life, just to like be able to reflect and like look back and like have that backwards compatibility, as hard as, I mean, I've had definitely some things I regret and some past parts of me that I I try to block out, but like I still have to recognize it in order to like move forward and grow from it. And like, it's just continuing. And like I said, never dies. Never dies until you're until you're done paying the taxes, which is never.
Yeah, of course. One last question. What was your first iPhone? Like what got you into the iPhone game?
Ah, God, that's a good question. I have it actually. Like I have it here. Uh the people that are listening can't see, but like I'm holding up iPhones. Whatever this one is, the smaller one, if I can find it. I think it's like the four, five, six, I guess. The tiny one. My hands are so big, it's like fucking holding a Tamagotchi or something. But yeah, it was just like the smaller one. I guess it was just like I was like working on I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I was like going on like the cheaper Androids and like and all that shit. But I mean, the iPhone's a great tool. Like as much as it rules our lives, like it is a great tool. Like I love it. I mean, like maybe we can save this for part two of our conversation, which I greatly appreciate, man. Like this is a fun conversation. But yeah, I mean, like part of my process of like making what I make today is like taking photos of like what I see in the world. Like I take photos of like the concrete and I like bring it into Photoshop and like change it into something completely different and like turn it into art. And like, obviously you take a lot of pictures of like moments and everything, but it's like become like such like a useful tool for me. And it's like, even just thinking about like other creative people, it's just like you can make like whatever you want to make if you have a good idea with whatever you have and like whatever you have like accept or that's accessible to you. Like you don't need like the fanciest computer, you don't need like the fanciest like camera to get an idea across, you you can work with what you got. It's like you look at the birth of hip hop. It's just like, in the Bronx, they were just like, you know, spinning records on like turntables and like, working with the music instruments that they had into creating something new because they had an idea around it. So, yeah, I mean, I like the iPhone a lot. I don't have the newest one, but like I love I love my phone.
No, I agree fully. I love complaining about phones and then until it does something I needed to, and then I love phones. And then I go back to complaining. It's always one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, like now that I've like rebooted my old iPhones, like one of the principles that I've written down that I like really live by is like break a tool in half, put it back together, then use it. So it's like kind of going what we're talking about with like 2000s media. I mean, you see a lot of kids do it, like bringing back the old digital cameras for like aesthetic and everything. But it's like there is something nice about that. It's like you kind of like I kind of like the brokenness of it. Like I remember one time my iPhone was like tweaking out and like it was like doing this weird like shutter thing like in like the screen. So I did a screen recording and took a video with it, and it ended up being like really cool in my eyes. So it's like I kind of use like even just like my old iPhone, like one of it's like kind of broken, so it kind of has this like weird glow effect because like the camera is like literally like cracked. But like I wanted like I try to use it to my advantage and like try to create something out of it. Like I also have this like Olympus like point and shoot, but there's like a light leak on it that creates this like halo when you develop the film. So it's like that made me think like, oh, I can take photos where I like use that halo as like as a way of like creating a border around a portrait or something. So yeah, I think like yeah, use like whatever tool you have, like just use it to its capability, but then also like think about how you can break it and use it for what it wasn't intended for, you know? Not to say like you should make your iPhone a hammer, like don't make it a hammer, but like like fucking like you can use its features for like other things and like do really interesting things off of it, which is like which I find like really fun and exciting.
Depending on the day, I do want to turn my phone into a hammer. If it's one of the days where I like complaining, but no, that I've never actually heard. I mean, maybe I've heard it, but no one's ever really explained the break a tool in half, put it back together, and use it. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's really interesting. Like in Photoshop, for example, like you know, they have like all these generative functions now. So it's like it's kind of like so janky at times where I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to use it for like, you know, adding a fucking tree or whatever. I'm just going to like I'm going to use it and just break it completely and just like, you know, there's this thing called like content aware fill where like it grabs the pixels outside of the area and replicates it and generates like based on what's around it. So like I just like go crazy and I just use it as like a paintbrush, like say like Jackson Pollock would like use to like splatter paint on like a fucking like canvas. Like that's kind of how I would approach things. And like that's kind of like how I would like look at things and just kind of what we're been saying over the course of this conversation is just like you kind of have to be adaptive and like work with what you got and like figure out how you can make it work. And it's like there's kind of like something interesting about that. It's like it's almost like now that I think about it, it's like kind of primal in a way. It's like, you know, creating a wheel. It's like fucking inventing fire in a way. We kind of been doing that shit for so long, where it's just like we would have something, and it's just like, well, what can I do with this? Like we've been using the wheel for this, but what if we did it like this? So it leads to like it's an interesting way of like leading to innovation. Like I said again with like hip hop, it's like they took turntables and like created an instrument out of it. It's like it wasn't for its intended use. Like yes and no, but like they started scratching them and like that was always a faux pas with like records, but then they turned that into an art form. So it's like, you know, that's kind of like how I think about it and like think about it with like the tools that I use and like you know, whether it's my iPhone or Photoshop, it's just like I don't intentionally think about like breaking it essentially, but if it like starts tweaking out on me, I'd start thinking like instead of like, you know, how can I fix it? It's just like, all right, how can I work with this? And like how can I do how do I bring the idea but like with this new like challenge, you know? So, I don't know. I find a lot of joy out of it and like, you know, it's become a core probably like top 3 principle that I've like written down and like I've told a lot of people and they've, you know, they've gotten the same reaction as you. So I encourage people to think that way, you know. Think outside the box as they say.
Yeah, no, no, I'll take that more to heart, and I'll always credit you for it when I do. Um, now I feel I've kept you a while, but thank you so much. That was incredible. Actually, I like I said at the beginning, totally freestyled, worked out. Very good back and forth. I very honored to have this conversation. Thank you.
Dude, like,
Before I hop off fully, do you want to let anyone listening know where they can find you? If you want to promote anything or say hi to anyone, the mic is yours. Please go ahead.
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Ramus underscore Ormsby, RHOMAS underscore ORMSBY. Yeah, I'm here in San Francisco, throw a lot of parties. Got a Club Moniker party, the crew I'm a part of. Throwing a party in a couple weeks. Stop by, I'll be there. We can do a little meet and greet. No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, like I'm just around if you're in the city, like hit me up. Like I I tend to be a shy guy at times, like fingers pointing together. But like, I love like, I appreciate this conversation. Like, if you ever want to do a part two, like I'd be so down because like I love talking about this shit. So like, if you're in the city or like, if you're online and just want to chat, like, yeah, just hit me up. Like I'm always down for like a light and chill conversation. Like if anyone has any questions about like the process of like getting in an industry or like learning design or like just like casual stuff. Like, some of my friends know that like, I just love talking about this shit. So, you can find me on Instagram, find me in the city.
I definitely will be in touch for a part two. I will give people a bit of a break between us chatting, but no, like 1,000%. I'll take you up on that. Um, yeah, beyond that, enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend. Have fun at the show, and keep in touch. Please send me every single link you reference. Just spam me with all of it.
Yeah, dude. I'll carve out a good chunk of my day tomorrow. Just to, like send you all. I'll curate this baseball playlist and just like some other cool things that I come across. I'll definitely send you. And yeah, dude, like what you're doing for the pod is like really fucking cool, and I like really appreciate it and like really enjoy you having me and like really appreciate what you're doing, having people on and like giving them a platform to like speak and like have me speak, but also like a bunch of other really cool people speaking. So keep chugging along, my friend.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and talk soon for sure.
Yeah, man, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
See ya.